So, hello and welcome to another Flower of Light Mystery School podcast. And with me again is Christine.
Good afternoon.
And Charlotte.
Hello there.
Hello. So we just kind of want to have a chat really about, we'll just flow into it, I suppose.
It's not linear. It's not confined by linear points.
No, definitely not.
We actually were speaking about something before we started recording, so we might just pick up where we left off.
True, yeah, which was, we were talking about the whole concept of which would be embedded in kind of the mythology of, let's say, for example, Moses and Moses climbing up the mountain. So what I had been talking about was the Great Pyramid and how the Great Pyramid was a description of God, if you want to put it that way, or source awareness, whatever you want to call God yourself, whatever source awareness, consciousness, whatever feels comfortable. So the Great Pyramid is a description, let's say, maybe a description is the wrong word, but a model maybe of God consciousness or God in stone.
Because of the geometry and everything involved with it.
Yes. And the idea of, say, for example, building the pyramid, you know, from the bottom up, brick by brick.
Yes.
Until you reach the top.
The capstone.
And the last stone, the capstone, which is the stone that the builders rejected. That's what they say in the Bible.
Rejected.
It was the stone that the builders rejected.
Because Jesus
refers to himself as the stone that the builders rejected.
Yes, that's true.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Which is referring to the capstone.
Uh-huh.
Or, as they say, the all-seeing eye. You know, the way you see it on the... Well, I don't like to compare it to the $1 bill, but most people will be familiar with the appearance of the Great Pyramid and then the capstone decapitated, in other words, taken away from the Great Pyramid.
On top of it.
And it's floating over it. It's not sitting on the top of it.
Not connected.
It's not connected to it. And it has an all-seeing eye. I'm sure most people are familiar. Yes. And if not, maybe if you want to look at the dollar bill, the $1 bill, you'll see it. So, that was something that somebody actually had said to me today about how the pyramid could possibly be a description of God in stone. And the person that said it to me said more, I think, than they realised themselves, because there's actually been things written in terms of, and one of the things I talk about a lot is the book of Coming Forth by Light. And I have probably mentioned before in podcasts that the book of Coming Forth by Light is the Great Pyramid in stone. Or in other words, the Great Pyramid is the book of Coming Forth by Light in stone.
Yeah, it works for both ways.
Exactly. So, what I want to talk about is, for example, in the Bible, okay? And the Bible, if we think of the word Bible and we think of Babel, so Bible and Babel are really the same word. Now, if we think about the Tower of Babel, but it's not a story I want to get into too much because I think I've talked about it before, but the Tower of Babel is told in the Bible, the story, and briefly it suggests that there was a universal language before the construction of all the different languages that we know today. And it was one universal language that everybody understood and used to communicate with each other. And so all of humanity came together to build the Tower of Babel. And that was a tower that was to reach God. And so it says in the Bible that the gods held council. In other words, they had a meeting. And they looked down and said, we better go down and do something about the building of this tower.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, they are going to become just like us, or even better.
Yeah.
So the gods came down and broke the tower. Why? They broke the tower so that humanity could never come together again in cooperation to build a tower that would reach God. And to make sure that they couldn't, they decided, you know what we'll do as well? See that one language that they use to understand each other? That's how they built this tower. Because they could all understand this one language.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as well as breaking down the tower, we need to confuse the language. So they confused the language. The one language was then turned into or confused into 72 other languages. And then, just to make sure, they said, and now, after breaking down the tower and confusing one language by changing it into 72, what we're also going to do is we're going to get this one group of people and we're going to scatter them to the four corners of the earth. So no longer will they ever be able to come together in cooperation to build a tower that can reach God. And even if they do come together, they're not going to understand each other anyway, because they don't speak the same language. So anyway, that's the story of the Tower of Babel.
But it separates everyone now still. Unless you want to learn another language. But it's difficult.
Well, that's the story of the Tower of Babel. And of course, all those stories are, I mean, they're never meant to be taken literally. Yeah. They're all metaphors and symbolic, and you're meant to read between the lines, you know.
Yes.
Allegories, very good. So anyway, the Bible and Babel.
The Babel.
Are kind of, you know, it's okay. I'll leave it to yourself to think about that one. So in the Bible, there's the story of Moses, okay, who goes up the mountain. Now,
with a burning bush.
And the Great Pyramid, okay, in the Bible. In the Bible, it says, it calls the Great Pyramid the Mountain of God.
Yeah, the Mountain of God. Yes.
Okay.
But in the story, it's not directly the pyramid, but we can infer that it means the pyramid.
I'll tell you what it says. It says, in the land of Egypt, there is an altar to the Lord, a mountain to God. And it's in the midst and the borders, and on the borders thereof. Okay? That's what it says in the Bible. But there's only one structure on earth that's in the midst of something and on the border of something at the same time. There's only one structure on earth that fits that description. What is that?
Well,
the Great Pyramid.
The Great Pyramid. And I'll tell you how. If you remember, we talked about the Great Pyramid being in the direct center of the Earth's landmass.
That's right.
In other words, if you were to find the longest line of longitude, which is the 0 degree meridian line, which runs around the Earth and covers the most amount of landmass on the Earth, and if you were to find the latitudinal line that covers the most amount of landmass on the Earth, where both of those lines intersect is where the Great Pyramid is placed. So the Great Pyramid sits at the very direct center of the Earth's landmass, where the two lines of longitude and latitude meet. The 0 degree meridian line cuts the Great Pyramid, the King's Chamber, and the sarcophagus itself. In other words, if you were lying in the sarcophagus, the 0 degree meridian line would run straight through your belly button.
Yeah, exactly.
Your solar plexus.
It's like a toroidal field, right?
Exactly. The biggest one on Earth.
0
Yeah,
point.
The biggest one on
the biggest one on Earth, but meeting your one as well.
And the Great Pyramid is also a crystal, by the way. The core structure of the Great Pyramid is granite. Granite is a 99% quartz crystal.
Yeah.
So you might as well say the Great Pyramid is a crystal. Well, it is. It's a crystal in a crystal grid. All the other sites are the same. Anyway, that's getting into a different topic. What I'm saying is the Great Pyramid sits at the very center of the Earth. So it's in the midst of, the middle of.
Center of the land.
Okay. Now, the Great Pyramid also marks the border of Upper and Lower Egypt.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the Great Pyramid sits on the border. It marks the border of Upper and Lower Egypt. But it also sits in the center of the Earth's landmass. So the only structure on Earth that can possibly be what they're talking about is the Great Pyramid. It's the only structure that's in the middle of and on the border of something at the same time. So that can be only the altar to the Lord in Egypt and the mountain to God in Egypt. That can only be the Great Pyramid.
Yes.
Okay? Now, sorry, go ahead.
But isn't it in the Bible called Mount Sinai? Or
Well,
am I
that's
just inferring that?
It's the
that's
old
no,
deflection.
you're right there. Yeah, yeah. So in the Babel, remember? Confusion. So in the Bible, it talks about Moses going up Mount Sinai. Yeah.
Akhenaten.
So Moses climbs up Mount Sinai. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes to the top of Mount Sinai. Right. And when he gets to the top, what does he do? Okay. He gets to the top of Mount Sinai and he meets God. We know that, because it tells us that he meets God. So what does he do when he meets God? Do you know what he does?
No.
He asks God a question. Do you know what question he asks?
What's the question?
He asks God, what is your name?
That's right.
And do you know what God answers? No. Although you never know. God says, I am that I am.
That's right.
It can also be translated as I am who I am. Okay? And that, translated from Hebrew letters, because it was written down in Hebrew, into English letters, is most generally translated as YHWH, which, when pronounced, which you're not supposed to,
Right.
makes the sound of the most close, because there is no sound. There is no sound to it. It can't be pronounced, and that's the whole point. But YHWH, which is abbreviation of I am that I am, or I am who I am, which is the name of God. An abbreviation, the most, that people often say is Yahweh, which is also called Jehovah.
Yes.
Now, okay, there's a lot of people going to be going, oh, hold on a minute, you're talking about the Jewish religion. Well, if you want to look at it that way, yeah, But let's kind of
But the
backtrack.
Jews are the ones who wrote the
Well,
Bible.
well, let's just backtrack about religion first. Let's pretend we're actually in a time, space, place, whatever you want to think of, before religion was created. All right. So let's say that doesn't exist yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Moses climbs the mountain and asks God, "What is your name?" And God says, "I am that I am." Okay. And then Moses comes down the mountain. So what does he do? When he comes down the mountain,
He's not happy.
well, no. The first time he's cool, actually, when he comes down. So he comes down the mountain, and what does he come down with? The tablets. Yeah. So he comes down with what he has discovered, what he has learned. Yeah. So he comes down. And when he comes down, he sees the people that were waiting at the bottom of the mountain for him. And what are they doing? They're melting down the gold and they're making a golden calf.
That's it. They're worshipping an idol.
A golden calf. So what he does is he says, oh, okay, right, well, you know what? These people are not going to understand this set of tablets that I have here. So what does he do? He smashes them. Goes up the mountain, comes back down with another two. And the other two are called the Ten Commandments. So, what did he come down with first? What information did the first two tablets contain?
The
That he
emerald tablets?
decided, no, I'm not giving that. I'm not doing this.
They were too sophisticated.
I'm not doing this. So he went back up and got a different set, which became commandments.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I remember saying before in the podcast about how the 42 negative confessions of Maat in the book of Coming Forth by Light became what we know as the 10 Commandments. Yeah, because the 42 negative confessions of Maat, and I'm not going to rhyme them all off, but some of them are, I have not stolen, I have not lied, I have not killed. Okay? So they're called negative confessions because what you're saying is, I have not done this.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
Not because the act is negative.
No, because you're saying, I have not done this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it could be possibly because, not necessarily because the act is, well, it could be that as well.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
you're
why
right.
I'm trying to say they're negative because you haven't done them.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
whereas,
and because the
whereas
act
the
itself
act can be neutral.
Yeah. Or
Even
you
though-
could look at it like it's.
I
like-
know.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
It's exactly. But so the 42 negative confessions, in a sense, is saying they're negative because you're saying you're denying that you've done the act. If you know what I mean.
Even though the acts might not be nice things to do to
Exactly,
another person.
they could also be considered negative acts.
Yeah,
but
to infer that you're denying.
You're
doing
denying.
them.
Yeah.
That's what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
Them being negative.
So rather than the act itself being negative, yeah.
Yeah.
So the person is saying, I have not done this and I have not done that. So that's the 42 negative confessions of Matt. But when they were turned into the 10 Commandments, they were turned into, thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
Thou shalt not. So it went from the person saying, I've never done this,
Oh.
to you do not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It became a commandment.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
the person themselves volunteering and saying, I've never done that.
Yeah, an outside
I've never
person's
killed anyone. I've
saying
never
to
lied to anyone. I've never done any of that. Okay?
Yeah.
So it went from the person themselves volunteering this information. I've never done this. I've never done that. I've never done the other. You know? And went from that to the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's good. Thou shalt not lie.
Yeah, like an outside
Okay, so what
separate
happened?
being.
When Moses came down with the first set, he said, okay, he saw the people building the fatted calf, the golden calf, and he thought, okay, I'm not giving them this first set of tablets. Why? Why did he think that? Because, again, this is all metaphor, okay?
Yeah.
But because, and he also said something as well, and this is in the Bible, that, you know, people think is strange, that he said, melt the gold down and eat it. He said to the people, melt the gold down and eat it. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they were eating
Well, it is.
monatomic gold.
It is when you think of orbitally rearranged monatomic elements and made out of gold, which is actually what they were doing in ancient Egypt. And the purpose of it was because it was a medium, a substance that was used, like, say, for example, ayahuasca, like dimethyltryptamine, like any hallucinogen. Okay, I won't say hallucinogenic, but any substance that's used to induce an out-of-body experience.
That's natural. Or maybe not natural.
Yeah.
Well, it's natural. Yeah, it's natural. Yeah, and even the aromas would be natural.
Yeah.
You know, they're natural. They're naturally occurring. They do naturally occur. Anyway, we're getting off topic. But the point is, all that information is embedded in this. So, you know, he told the people to eat the gold, basically. You know. Now, obviously, that's until you understand about orbitally rearranged monatomic elements, it doesn't really make sense. But to eat the gold was the same thing as saying to somebody, take an ayahuasca trip. Do you know what I mean? Pretty much the same thing, you know. So that kind of brings me to the point about, you know, the mystery schools and why they were having kind of like all these initiations, and the initiations they were having like were death initiations, if you want to put it that way, you know.
Yeah.
So they were going into these places, caves. We'll call them caves, yeah, because you can say the Great Pyramid is a cave. You know, you can say like, you know, you can say like all the places in here we have in Ireland, like Newgrange, you know, the mound of hostages on Tara, like all the different types of mounds, like, you know, that you can call them caves.
Yeah.
You know? So really all the ancient structures, mounds all over the earth, pyramids, temples even, you can call them caves. You know, like the inner sanctuary of a temple is like a cave. It's always in darkness.
Yeah, exactly. And they're made out of stone.
Exactly. The inner sanctuary is always in darkness in a temple, and it's only illuminated at a certain time of the year by the sun shining in, like, for example, in Newgrange, when the light shines in on, you know, the 21st of December. Yeah. So,
they make a big deal about that, but it actually comes in like for 7 days.
Oh yeah, on either side.
They picked the 25th, but
Well,
it was for the winter solstice.
Well,
so
the whole point is
21st.
they don't actually tell you about the fact that the light shines in almost for a week.
Is it?
Not just one day.
Yeah.
And that's the actual amazing thing about Newgrange. Okay, I'm getting off topic here, but the builders of Newgrange
But just bear with us.
incorporated the 25,920 year processional cycle in the window box and the doorway that they built going into the actual cave. So in order to do that, you had to have extremely advanced architectural, astronomical,
astrotheology,
mathematical.
like all that, yeah.
I mean, you had to have some amazing knowledge to be able to do that.
Yes.
You know. Okay. Anyway,
To go back to Moses, or the
so
Moses up the hill came down, and everybody
Okay.
was...
Okay, so we're told that Moses went up Mount Sinai. So what I want to say is, let's change Moses to Akhenaten.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what we're really saying here is that Akhenaten went into the pyramid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And found God. And what did he do? He asked, "What's your name?"
That's it.
Yeah. And God said, "I am that I am." Or "I am who I am." So, if you want to say that let's say all the talking I do about, this lineage, and that's not even really important. That's in time,
Yeah.
all ideas of lineage and ancestors and all of that all appears in time. Okay. But anyway, let's say the talk I do about the information that came from Egypt to Ireland through the lineage of Akhenaten and family and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So let's say Akhenaten went into the pyramid, and he discovered, as we said, the name of God. And then he came back down to try and tell everyone. But they didn't want to know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't want to know. Why? Because they hadn't actually climbed the pyramid themselves. They hadn't climbed the mountain themselves.
Yeah.
They were waiting down the bottom. It was only him who climbed. It was only him who made the climb. It was only him, Akhenaten, who went up, or Moses, well, same thing. But it was only Akhenaten. We'll stick to Akhenaten. It was only Akhenaten who climbed the mountain. It was only Akhenaten who said, "What is your name?"
Yeah.
He got the answer, and he came down to tell the people that were waiting down the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want to know. And he realized, when he came down the mountain, he realized, by looking at the people melting the gold to make the golden calf, he realized they are not going to understand.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of right now.
Yeah, they are not going to
People are
understand
resisting the truth.
the information that's written on these tablets. Now, let's not imagine that they were actually, stone tablets, like, bits of stone with things written on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's portrayed in the Bible.
Yeah.
But,
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
It's not really
it's a
real
metaphor.
anyways.
Right. So on seeing all that, he said, well, you know what? No, they're not going to understand this. So there was a whole different set of information that was given to the people.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was it like the same thing being said in a different way, or was it completely,
Well, let's say Moses gave the people 10 commandments, and Akhenaten was trying to give the people
the real information.
The first set that he came down with. Okay? Akhenaten and Moses are the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah? But it was... The character of Moses was created a long time after the real life character of Akhenaten ever existed. So what I'm saying is that the character in the Bible called Moses was created a long time after the character called Akhenaten actually existed. Because Akhenaten was a real life character, but nobody has ever found Moses as a real life character.
Yeah.
Okay? In fact, nobody has ever found any of the biblical characters as real live characters. But when you look back to the 18th dynasty of Egypt, you find real live characters whose life stories are very closely approximate characters that are in the Bible. So, with any degree of study, you start to realise that, hold on a minute, the characters in the Bible are actually talking about real life characters. Mm-hmm. What they did was they took these real life characters and then created these imaginary characters in the Bible out of them. Okay?
like a TV show, like based off of the story.
Well, I'll give you the example.
I know.
For example, the character Jesus Christ, but no, this is going to be a bit of a bone of contention maybe with some people, but
Well, let's hear it.
Jesus, I won't say the character, I'll say Jesus Christ in the Bible. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know that Jesus said, I'm the Son of God. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And we know, and if we were to think about, for example, prayers that you might say, like say, so one of the most closely associated prayer with Jesus would be, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Oh, yes.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, etc. Okay, first of all, the only person in recorded history, or let's say the first person, okay, that we know of, that said, I am the Son of God, was Akhenaten. Akhenaten said, I am the Son of God, but he meant I am the S-U-N of God, not the S-O-N of God. Okay? So Akhenaten said, I am the Son of God, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you. You see, you're not told that bit in the Bible.
Yeah.
In the Bible, you're told that not Akhenaten, but Jesus said, I am the Son, S-O-N. Now think, stop for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When you change S-U-N to S-O-N, what happens? Now,
Well,
I want you
then he has
to
have a father.
just
If
remember.
he's a son, who's
Just
his father?
okay, now just remember for one sec. The Tower of Babel was what? What was it about?
It was about going up to see God.
It was also about changing the language, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah, the confusion of the languages.
Okay,
Taking the
okay,
U
okay.
out.
Now let's see how simple it is. When you change a three-letter word like S-U-N to S-O-N, what happens?
You take the U out of it.
But also, what gender is the sun? The S-U-N.
No
Universal?
gender.
What gender is it? Is it male? Is it female? What is it?
People
sun
think
in the
it's male
sky.
energy. People think it has male energy, but I don't think it has a gender.
That's only because it projects.
Yeah,
Because it's
projects,
active.
yeah. Yeah,
Active
it's
energy
active,
is
yeah,
always
active energy,
considered, because it's kinetic, moving.
It's a kinetic active energy. Yeah.
Passive energy is considered feminine because it's negative.
Yeah.
Not negative in terms of bad, negative in terms of positive and negative. Do you know what I mean? Passive, I should say.
Passive, yeah.
So when you change S-U-N to S-O-N, what happens is the sun, the S-U-N, is not a gender.
Yeah.
You couldn't say the sun is male or female.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a gender, but only in the sense of what we've just discussed.
Right.
It can be scientifically termed male energy because it's active.
Right.
Yeah.
Kinetic, moving or doing energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is considered active, male. And in that way, maybe you could, but not. But anyway, so what happened was they changed the concept of the sun to the sun, S-O-N.
Mm-hmm.
So now it becomes a male, it becomes a man, and as Christine just said, if it's a son, then it has to have a father.
That's
It
right.
also has to have a mother. So now it becomes something that is
A trinity.
well, not okay.
Patriarchal.
That's embedded, but a patriarchal, exactly.
Yeah.
Patriarch. Okay.
Down with the patriarchy.
So the information was changed. Well, okay, let me say it another way. So the information, so how simple it is, right, to change the word sun to sun, because what it does now is it changes something that was neutral, ever present, everywhere, all at the same time,
Yeah.
eternal,
Light. Mm-hmm.
One
okay.
language. Yeah.
Eternal. It changes it into a sun, S-O-N, which now is a person. It's a male. It exists at a particular point in time.
And it has a finite.
It has a mother.
Yeah.
It has a father. It has a beginning. It has an end. Okay. How simple was that? How
Just moving one
simple
letter.
was that
Very easy.
to change the information that Akhenaten was seeking to give the people? How easy was it to sort that information?
Lost in translation.
Okay, so also Our Father who art in heaven is actually written by Akhenaten.
That's right. The prayer to the Aten.
It's called a hymn or a prayer to the Aten, and it was written by Akhenaten. Now, people say Akhenaten was a sun worshipper. Okay, you'll always hear that. Sun worshipper, sun worshipper, sun worshipper. Because they say he worshipped the sun disk. Akhenaten didn't worship the sun. Akhenaten wasn't worshipping the sun. He wasn't even talking about the sun. He was talking about the light that comes through the sun.
Yeah.
Not the sun itself. The light that comes through the sun. And he said, I am the Son of God. I am the light of the world. And so are you, and so are you, and so are you. Yeah? But you see, people who want you to think that there was one person at one point in time called the Son of God who said, I'm the Son of God. They stop at that bit. They don't tell you that person also said, I'm the Son of God, but so are you. And so are you. And so are you. And so are you.
That brings us back to our I am that I am.
Okay.
Yahweh, my name.
I am.
I'm going to ask a question. What about the tetragrammaton?
The what?
The tetra, because that has to do with Yahweh's name.
Yeah, well, that is the tetragrammaton.
Yeah, exactly.
A tetragrammaton is any 4-letter word.
That's it.
So Aton, A-T-O-N is a tetragrammaton.
Yeah, so there you go.
Atom.
Well, let me tell you, your DNA is a tetragrammaton as well.
Yes,
if you want to put it that way.
That makes perfect sense.
What is a tetragrammaton?
Because Yahweh actually is talking about the DNA. A tetragrammaton is any 4-letter word.
Okay.
A 4-letter word is a tetragrammaton.
Okay.
Okay? So Aton, A-T-O-N. Remember I said the name Yahweh, which translated means I am that I am, which was the name of God.
Yeah. And
that's a 4-letter word, so it's written as Y-H-W-H. Yahweh.
In Kabbalah.
No, don't forget, I am not talking about religion.
No, you're not. Exactly, you are not.
I am talking before religion was created.
Exactly.
So anyone's mind that's going to, that's about religion, that's about Jews, that's about this, that's about that. Like, let's just stop right now. I'm talking about before religion was created.
Because it was created.
Because this is the seed of all religion.
Exactly. I agree completely.
Well, yeah.
This is the unified one language.
That's it.
Before the Tower of Babel was pulled down.
Well, you can think
okay,
of that
Babel
as well in terms
is also the same as Babel.
That's what I'm saying.
And what does Babel mean?
Babbling brook. Speaking gibberish.
Okay, babbling brook is a different thing, but when you're referring to language, what does Babel mean?
To talk incoherently.
Exactly. Well, so you can say Babel or you can say Babel. It's the same word.
Yeah.
Well,
and Bible originates from the same word.
And the other thing is, there were...
And I don't mean just Bible, as in all religion as well.
In terms of the Irish mythology, there were Irish chieftains at the fall of the...
Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing. And when well, it's not a whole other thing, but what I mean is...
Well, it's connected.
Of course it is, yeah. But what I mean is that if you think of the chieftains that went, it also says there was 72 chieftains at the building of the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
Now, 72 refers to the cycle I mentioned previously, which is the precession of the equinoxes, when I was talking about Newgrange. And that's a cycle that takes 25,920 years. Anyway, we're getting off topic here.
No, but
72 is the first movement in that cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, it takes 72 years for a star to move 1 degree in the cycle of precession.
Yeah.
That's too complicated to get into, and it's not really what I was talking about. But yes, the 72 chieftains going to the Tower of Babel has to do with...
I just thought like there is an Irish connection. In the Irish books, that's where that comes
That's in the Book of Ballymote. It talks about, they talk about the going to the Tower of Babel, and that connects Gadel Glass and Scota.
And that's why I would mention it, because that's Akhenaten's daughter.
Yeah. But so so the focus of Moses going up the mountain was to ask God what his name was.
Yeah.
Not his name, but ask God what its name was.
Yeah.
And the answer he got was, I am that I am. So let me ask you a question. Every person in the world has a different name, haven't they?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Your name is different to mine. My name is different to Christine. But what is the one common name that every single person in the world refers to themselves by?
I.
Yeah.
I.
Me, myself, and I.
No matter what the name your parents may have given you, when speaking of yourself, you will always say I.
Yeah.
And every single person refers to themselves as I. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in your general speech, what will you say? You'll say, I am tired.
Yeah.
I am hungry. I am
Pissed off.
pissed.
Just
Thank
came
you,
out.
Christine.
Not you, but in general.
Thank you
I'm
very
not
much.
talking about myself. I said I am.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that was for to break the tension.
laughter therapy.
very good, very good.
Thanks.
So anything you say after I am,
Mm-hmm.
what is that doing? It's describing the activity of the original I.
Yeah.
What does I am mean? I am. What does am mean?
I
Being.
Yeah, being, yeah.
I am.
am aware.
I'm aware.
That's it, awareness.
I
Describes
awareness.
awareness.
That's exactly. You can say I being or I awareness. Okay, so every person who speaks basically is saying I am. Anything you say after that, I am. That's it right there. The name of God.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
What is the name? Okay, I want to ask you a question. What is the name of God? I just told you the name.
I am.
Yahweh.
I am.
Sorry, Christine.
Baba.
I'm just asking Charlotte again here. Okay.
Ooh.
I want you to tell me. I'm going to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of God?
I am. I am.
I want to ask
I
you the
am
question
that.
again. What is the name of God?
I am. That I am.
Okay. I am. The name of God is I am.
Mm.
I am God.
Okay, now hold on. Hold on.
I'm getting feisty
This
suddenly.
is
I
a
must be
journey that people have to go on by
I know,
themselves.
it's their own thing. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
have
I
to climb
understand.
your
I'm
own mountain,
respectful.
people.
I'm respectful.
So anyway, in the mystery schools, the whole focus was to have an experience that took you out of your mind, right? Because mind is a creation of the I am. I am is the awareness that's present throughout all your whole life. Okay. So, for example, when you go to sleep at night and when you wake up in the morning, okay, how much time elapses between you going to sleep and you waking up? Now, I know you're probably going to say about 8 hours, but that's you in your waking state saying 8 hours, okay?
Doesn't feel.
But
like
in
that.
your experience, right, when you go to sleep and when you wake up, how much time has elapsed in your experience? Not in what you can calculate in your mind.
Yeah.
In your actual experience. How
No,
much
no.
time do you experience?
No time.
There's no time.
Because you're asleep.
Exactly.
You're out of your body. You're asleep.
Exactly.
There's
so,
no time.
So, between the sleeping moment and the waking moment, there is no time.
Oh, that sounds.
Why? Why is there no time?
Because
No time elapses between you going to sleep and you going to wake. Or sorry, being awake. Waking up. Why is there no time?
Because you're not aware of it. Or
Because your mind
yeah.
is not
asleep.
there.
Yeah. It's asleep. Your ego's asleep.
You
Your
see?
subconscious. Your
Your mind is
consciousness
not there.
asleep.
Your mind is not part of that. Your mind, when your mind goes asleep, God wakes up.
That's it.
When your mind wakes up,
When
God
your
goes
ego
back
self,
asleep.
When your
Now to
identity
say
of Charlotte wakes up. Is that it, Antoinette?
to say that God goes to sleep is not true because God never sleeps.
That's right.
God, the awareness, eternal, I am awareness. That is what we call God. That never sleeps. That never sleeps.
Well,
The waking is the illusion.
well
That's
yeah.
it. That's it. Yes. That's it. Awakening. The illusion, like breaking the spell. The illusion is that you are awake and living this thing. But that's the illusion. It's when you go to sleep that you're back.
Well, yeah.
Time only begins the minute you open your eyes.
That's it.
Exactly.
There is no time when you're not awake.
Yeah, you're only and if you think as well, your subconscious and your conscious mind, right? Well, if you
I know I've discussed it before as well about conscious and subconscious and all of that, but if you really want to go back a step from that, there is a step back from conscious and subconscious, if you know what I mean.
what's
But
that?
conscious, like subconscious, is almost like the bridge, if you know what I mean. But subconscious, you can say there's different layers to what people think of as the subconscious, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
everything you've ever experienced happens within your awareness. You've never had an experience that existed outside your own awareness. It's impossible. Nor, like, for example, you can't see your own face.
No.
You can't see your own face. You can't see your own self.
Yeah.
But you can see everything else in what you consider to be outside of yourself,
Yeah.
which is what you call your world
Yeah.
and your reality. Okay? So all of that, as far as you're concerned, you can see all of that. It all exists outside of you, as far as you're concerned. As far as you here now, Charlotte, is the waking mind is concerned. All of this exists outside of yourself. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
If it exists outside of yourself, then who's observing it?
I am. Or
The observer, okay,
Mhm.
is the knowing behind the known. You know your experience. Yeah?
Mhm.
Your experience is what you're seeing. The outside world.
Yeah.
You know it. But who's the knower? Who's the seer? Who sees it?
Me.
So, put it another way. If you can't see the only thing in this so-called solid world that we're in that you can't see is yourself. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can't see your own face.
Haha.
Can't see your own back.
Yeah, your front or your
You
back.
can't see your own front. Well, you could look down, I suppose, and see a bit of your front, but you certainly can't see your back.
You can't see.
And you can't see your face. You most certainly
You can
have
see-
never seen your own face.
You
You
see
can see
a
reflection.
reflection.
Now everybody else is going to say, I can hear at the moment people saying, yes you can, yes you can,
Yes,
you can look
I
at
know.
Of
I
course,
can.
that's the whole point I'm making.
Yeah.
The only way you can see yourself is by looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay? The only way you have ever seen yourself is by looking in a mirror. In all the years that you've been on this planet, that you think you've been on this planet,
Yeah.
in all these years that you think you've been in this solid body and alive and all the things that you are, you have never seen your own face. Is that not a bit odd? Like, and the only way you can see everyone else's face, but you can't see your own.
Well, that's interesting, because if you're the observer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're observing your reflection in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means if you look at everyone else and
Mhm.
everything else around you, is that not just a reflection of yourself?
Yes. Absolutely. Perfect, Charlotte.
Did I hit the nail on the head there?
You hit something.
But I'm.
But yeah, exactly. And so, as you look in the mirror
Mm-hmm.
to see your own face,
Yeah.
okay, then as you look out at what you call your external reality,
Yeah.
what you're actually looking at is the face of God. But you have to look in a mirror to see it. Do you get it?
Exactly.
Go back a step.
Mhm.
Okay? And look in the mirror. It's the only way you can see your face is by looking in a mirror.
Mhm.
Yeah? The only way God can see its face is by looking in a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
What is the mirror that God looks in?
Through you.
A reflection of itself.
Mm-hmm. What's that called? Mind.
Mind.
Mm-hmm. Or ego.
Yeah,
Whatever you want to
ego.
call it.
Wait, no, you've lost me there.
Okay. So,
If you explain that again,
okay.
please.
Okay, so in order for you to see your own face, your physical face, you've got to look in a mirror.
Yeah.
Okay, we can understand that, yeah?
Mhm.
Right. Let's take it that God, and whatever words you want to put on God, source, whatever you want to call it. Say God wants to see its own face. Well, you know what? As above, so below. The law of correspondence. If you
Yeah.
can't see your own face in a mirror, ergo, the same law applies above as does below. So if down here, as you might think of yourself as being down here in the physical world, you can't see yourself in a mirror, well, then you can be sure that the same rule applies above, and it's not a rule. It's an immutable
principle.
universal law.
Yeah,
That's why the difference between universal law and man-made law is what I'm actually talking about, in case nobody's got it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Moses is the one who came down apparently with the Ten Commandments, but Moses is not Moses. Moses is only Moses in the Bible. Moses was a mystery school initiate called a Claton.
Yes. Because Moshe is
who
the
understood this whole
Moshe's the title.
concept. Because he was a mystery school initiate who went out of the body, who discovered himself as eternal awareness. But what happened? People didn't want to know. They said, "You're full of crap." And as time went by, he was called a sun worshipper. He was changed his name to Moses. He came into the Bible. All his laws became, the laws of the Jews, and and then the Jews became these kind of people that people didn't, whatever people. I'm not getting into that, but and then the whole Jewish thing, and and so it all gets discredited, doesn't it? Really. You mightn't understand all of that unless you know a bit about, the whole Jewish thing and Jewish religion and the whole thing today and all that. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. So
No, because we're not talking about...
but it's
I
what
think
this ancient
it's-
information was turned into, is what I'm saying.
From what I understand of it, is that there is this universal information, this universal law, but
Before the Tower of Babel, remember
but
the
no,
universal?
like what the Tower of Babel is, language and maybe the concept of religion is something that broke the unified way and broke it down into different things that
So you could think of the
different
Tower of
people
Babel.
can follow and have rules and abide by instead of being one universal set thing. Does that make sense?
broke the laws of the universe, right?
Well, I mean, like, how there's a lot of different people debating about what God is and what consciousness is and that is, but I don't know, maybe.
No, say it again, honestly, because I didn't just quite follow the concept. Say it again.
Well, personally, I would think that like religion is somewhat, divisive of like this one, like the Tower of Babel, like it kind of.
So what you're saying is it divided the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're both saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we consider, again, everything I'm talking about is in metaphor, so you have to kind of read between the lines, if you want to put it that way. Or hear between the words, even.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean?
The subtext.
And by the way, a lot of the communication is also telepathic.
Yeah.
So you can listen to my words.
That's a big thing, yes.
You can listen to my words, and you can also pick up
the frequency.
a lot in between the words.
Exactly.
Yeah, or
In the energy of the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The space.
The space. So what I'm saying
Interesting.
is, if you consider the Great Pyramid as the Tower of Babel, okay, and what you had was humanity coming together to build a tower to reach God. Just compare it to like Moses climbing the mountain or Akhenaten climbing the mountain. And what's the first question? What's your name? All right. So, what happened? The tower was broken. Why was it broken? It was broken to stop humanity from reaching God. Yeah. Isn't that what we discovered?
Yep.
And what were we saying? Remember about the Great Pyramid and the dollar bill, the way the capstone is missing.
Yeah, it's disconnected.
And on the physical pyramid, there is no capstone.
Nope.
So that's one of the things about the Great Pyramid. It has no capstone. So there's a whole thing about the missing capstone of the Great Pyramid. Where is it? Right? But the question is, was there ever a capstone?
Yeah.
And I'll say why. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. A capstone, okay, to be a perfect capstone, has to be the exact same as the original pyramid, except in a scaled down version. Okay? The Great Pyramid itself is a scale model of the Earth. It's a scale model on a scale of 1 to 43,200. In other words, if you took the measurements of the Great Pyramid and you multiplied any one measurement by 43,200, you would get the exact dimensions of the Earth. So the dimensions of the Earth, the size of the Earth, is contained within the Great Pyramid in maths, but it's scaled down. All right?
Fractal.
Exactly. Okay? The capstone of the pyramid is a fractal of the pyramid itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, if the pyramid itself has no capstone, then the capstone... Can you see where I'm going with this?
It's like the whole pyramid is the capstone.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the pyramid itself has no capstone, then the capstone that you're going to create has to be an exact scale model of the pyramid itself. So if the pyramid itself has no capstone, then the capstone has no capstone. Do you get me?
Exactly, yeah. It's
Yeah.
ever repeating pattern.
Exactly. Okay.
Or that.
So the idea of a pyramid is, okay,
A fractal.
that as you also as you go up, right? Think of a pyramid. Right? A pyramid is wide at the bottom, and keeps going narrow and narrow and narrow and narrow and narrow and narrow until all the four faces, because the Great Pyramid is actually
8 faces.
it's 8 faces actually. But anyway, let's just say 4 faces, okay? Until all the 4 faces of the pyramid meet. Right? They just keep gradually getting narrower and narrower and narrower until they get to the top, to the very top. And that's where all the 4 faces meet into a point. Okay? Now the whole idea is at that very top point of where all those 4 points of the pyramid meet, what you're meant to realize is that that pyramid is now gone so far up to a point that it's become invisible. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It keeps going,
But it's etheric, it's not.
but it's out of your vision now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now what you've got is a physical pyramid that's connected by a pyramid which is equal and opposite,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an energetic one.
Yeah.
That becomes the capstone.
Yeah.
And that's a Merkaba, right?
Because the pyramid itself actually leads you from the physical, or the illusion of the physical matter, the physical pyramid, okay? When you go through that point where all the 4 phases meet, you're going out of the physical and into the non-physical. Yeah? It's like if you drew an X. You know where the 2 lines of your X will meet? Say that's the top of the capstone. And then the upper half of the X. So the exact point of the X
It's gone.
is a 0 point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a 0 point. It's like the dot in the center of your circle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's a portal. It's a stargate. So think again of Moses climbing the mountain, and the whole idea of the missing capstone, and the Tower of Babel. Okay, so it's all metaphor.
Of course.
All metaphor for confusing this original knowledge,
Yeah.
which is so simple. It's contained in the question that was asked. So when I ask you, who is God? What's your answer? I told you.
Who is God?
Who is God? I told you the name of God.
I am that I am.
Who is God?
I am that I am.
So if you were to abbreviate it, okay, and take out the only one word that's different, okay. So how many words have you got in there? I am that I am. So there's 5 words. Yeah, we can say I as a letter, but do you know what I mean? The only thing that's not repeating there is the that.
Yeah.
Okay, so take the that out, and what have you got?
I am I am.
I am I am. So I'm going to ask it again. Who is God?
I am I am.
What is the name of God?
I am. But not in like egotistical terms.
Well, now you see.
That's what a lot of people get angry about, or they get confused. They're like,
well, no, because people think it's blasphemy to say I am God. Right? But what is actually blasphemy is to say I am a person.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what's blasphemy.
yeah,
You know why? Because when you say I am a person, you are declaring that I have separated from my eternal awareness.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
And you see, that shows you the whole inversion of how we live. People would not think to say I am God, because either they'll be put in a mental home,
Exactly.
or they'll feel arrogant,
Yeah.
or they'll think other people will say, who do you think you are? You know?
Yeah.
Who do I think I am?
Or who do I know
I think, therefore I am.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I think, therefore I am. You see,
The thought creates
okay,
the reality. Thought
there's
creates
some things
reality.
you just can't keep explaining, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's
I am.
Mhm.
You know? So let's think about time. So, how's time created? Okay, I think we've established the fact that when you look out at what you consider your reality,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
what you're actually looking at is the face of God.
Right.
Let's go back a step. Remember, you can only see your face in your so-called physical form by looking in the mirror. So you can only see your face by reflection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same as God.
Yeah.
God cannot know itself. It cannot look at itself. It has to create a reflection, so it can actually see itself.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, right now,
The reflection that it creates is everything you think appears outside of yourself,
yeah, it's a whole,
which is what you call your reality. But it's not outside of yourself.
it's within.
It occurs within the awareness.
Yeah.
Everything you see outside of yourself is an activity of the awareness. And it is also the face of God. Because as you think you're looking out of these eyes, you're looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
For the same purpose that you would look in a mirror.
Yeah.
Why? To see your face. Okay? So you're now here, you're looking out through what you think is these eyes, and what are you looking at? You're doing exactly the same thing. You're looking in a mirror. And what are you seeing? You're seeing your own face. You're seeing your own reflection.
And what
Because
happens?
it's the only way you can see it.
And what happens when you look in a mirror, like a mirror here and a mirror there? It's an eternal reflection going in. You know, if you look at that,
Oh, yeah. Like
One within the other, perfecting
they're
the
all
whole.
nested like a Ukrainian doll. But the other thing
Russian
is
doll.
Russian doll. Sorry, Russian doll.
Ukraine.
Sorry, it just came in my head. But when we're doing geometry, and you were saying, you know, the 0 and the 1,
Yes.
right? The circle and the one line.
Mhm.
That's what it seems
Exactly.
to me,
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah.
all within the circle.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The straight line is the circle that's been opened out.
That's it.
And when you open out a circle, you create the illusion of time.
Yes.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank
Brings
you.
me
Well, I
perfectly
knew
to
we were going there.
perfectly to what I was going to say. So, what I have said before, time is an illusion. Time doesn't exist, you know? No. People will say, oh, yes, it does, because I have to be here at 9 o'clock. Now, we've already established that time only exists when you're awake,
That's right.
or when you consider, you know, yourself being awake.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go asleep, from sleeping to waking, do you experience any time?
No.
Not really.
No, you don't experience
Yeah.
any time. Not really. Is not the. No. You're going into your ego and you're saying, well,
No,
I know that when I
I
go
know.
asleep, it's 9 o'clock at night, and when I wake up the next morning, it's 6. So therefore, there must be time. That's all your mind saying that.
No.
I'm
I
asking you,
have
what
no
do you
idea.
actually experience?
I'm out of my body, and I'm definitely in another vortex.
What do you actually experience? When you go asleep at night and when you wake up in the morning, is it the same moment?
No.
Do you
Yes.
experience any time between going asleep and waking up?
No, it's now.
Exactly.
It's now, yeah.
Going
that's
asleep
exactly
and
how to say
waking
it.
up are the exact same moment to you. Why? Because there is no time. Time only comes into existence when mind wakes up.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is mind? Mind is created by the awareness that we call God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Why? To see itself.
Yeah.
Mind is the mirror.
Well, yeah.
So forget mind, say mirror.
Yeah, I think mirror's a better way to say it. So your ego
Mind
is a mirror.
is the mirror that God had to create in order to see itself. Because just like you can't see your own self, okay, how are you going to look at your own face without looking in a mirror? How? Tell me how you could do it.
Only by looking in water. You
Okay,
know,
that's
like
a reflection.
just-
It's the same thing.
yeah.
How can you look? How can you actually look at your own face? What? Take your eyes out on sticks and turn them backwards?
Yes.
How can you actually look at your own face without looking in a mirror, or some
You
form of
can't.
reflection?
You can't.
You can't do it.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. What we call our reality is what eternal awareness did in order to see itself. It created a mirror, which we call mind.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, mind is finite. Yeah? I gave you the example of a train earlier on.
Before the podcast.
Before the
started.
podcast, we were talking, and I gave Charlotte an example of standing on a platform in a train station. Okay? Now, what I'm saying is that the person standing, or the consciousness standing at the platform in the train station, I'm asking you,
Visualize
the person,
yourself.
visualize it, the listener,
Beep beep.
visualize that the person standing, or the being standing on the platform is God.
Right.
All right? Is your awareness, is your I am.
Yeah.
Your awareness, your eternal awareness. You're there, okay? And the next thing you hear the sound of the train coming along. And then the next thing, you see it. And so it goes, boom, 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 past you. Yeah? And then it disappears. And the sound fades. But you're still there. Yeah? You were there before the train arrived. You watched as the train went past. You saw the movement, you heard the sounds. And you were there after the train left. The train is what you perceive to be the reality that exists outside of you. The one standing on the platform that was there before the train arrived and is there after the train left is your I am.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, it's a slightly different metaphor to the mirror one, but it's explaining and describing pretty much the same thing. I'm just taking it from a different viewpoint. So what I'm saying is, in this instance, using the train, I'm trying to describe time. Before and after. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas in the mirror one, I was describing the reflection.
Yeah.
And becoming aware of awareness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, eternal. How can a finite mind understand eternal nature? How can a straight line understand a circle?
I don't know.
And how can a circle understand a straight line?
Oh.
Okay? Only by experience.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you think of a circle as infinite eternal awareness, and the straight line as the time,
Right.
beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
All right?
Right. Linear.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and that brings us back to the geometry and how this is all encoded in straight lines and circles. But anyway, so mind is the prism through which I'm trying to think of this. Mind is the prism through which eternal, infinite awareness understands the straight line. Or if you look at it backwards. If you want to look at it backwards. Or not backwards, the other way, I mean. So let's say
A straight line.
let's say mind. Okay. Mind is trying to understand infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah? Your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind. You, Charlotte.
Or finite is trying to...
Finite,
understand.
exactly.
Yeah. Finite is
Infinite.
trying to understand
The straight line.
infinite.
The straight line is trying to understand the circle. Okay? But they're actually the same thing.
Yeah.
Because we already established that the straight line is just the circle that we broke and straightened out.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. You're the finite is part of the
Yeah.
infinite.
But when you have the circle and the
Section of
straight
it.
line, they think they're different to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
When you separate them from each
Exactly.
other.
Well, originally, I remember in one of the sacred geometry class, that's what you said. Like the circle is, the line is part of the circle, like created by itself to observe itself. It's the observer effect.
Yeah,
talking
I was
about.
going to mention that. But, I forgot
But
to
they're
say
actually the same thing. So I just want you to think of the concept of the circle and the line again. Right? Now say you have your circle. You've broken your circle out into a straight line, but your original circle is still there.
it. Oh, yeah.
Are they two separate things or are they the same thing? Which brings me to what I was trying to say about time. So if you consider the straight line as mind, and you consider the circle as I am, infinite eternal awareness, or what some people might call source or God, okay? The straight line, which is mind, is trying to understand infinite.
Yeah.
So you've got finite trying to understand infinite. Or, as we've said, a straight line trying to understand a circle. Now, again, it's a metaphor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why a straight line and a circle was used in the geometry, like, you know. Anyway, so...
Well, it's because they combine.
Yeah,
make...
yeah, and also because they describe everything I'm saying.
Exactly.
And because of what you've just said as well.
It's also binary code.
And it's also
0
binary
and 1.
code, yeah.
Well, yeah.
So, and remember we said tetragrammaton was 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
A 4-letter word, which is our DNA. ACTG, our DNA is written in terms of the chemicals. ACT and G, adenine, what was it again? Thiamine, guaitosine, cytosine, and I forget the other one. Anyway, it's ACTG is how it's written. And that's called a tetragrammaton. And so anything binary, bi, is 2.
Yeah.
0 and 1. So we're looking at 2 codes here. Very well. Good point, Christine.
Thank you.
We're looking at a code of 2 and a code of 4.
Yes.
So the Yahweh, YHWH, I am that I am, is speaking of a code of 4.
Yes.
Binary, 0 and 1, is speaking of 2.
2.
So what happens? Where are we going? We're going 4, 2. What happens after that? So if we're going on a sequence of 4 and then we go back to 2, where are we going?
To 1.
Exactly. Yeah. DNA is 4, binary is 2, and then we go back to 1.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
So it's like octaves. You go to the next octave.
I was just going to say something about that because I did a singing masterclass recently, and the lovely tutor who's teaching us, Philip Raymond, was talking about how when you are hearing like a note played on a piano, like just one note, your ear has to like move 100 times per second. And then when you play another, like an octave, like a second note, as well as that one, your ear like it doubles.
Faster, yeah.
Yeah. But then when you play like a third one, if you played 3 notes, it wouldn't go to 300, it would go to 400. So it like
so
doubles.
the power of itself.
Yeah, to the power of itself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're the person hearing it.
Exactly.
And you,
because
that's
nothing.
your mind.
Okay. I don't know if I've asked you this already, but lastly, let me ask you something. Has anything ever... Have you ever had an experience that took place outside your own awareness? No. So let's just go back to the time thing. And anyway,
Exactly, yeah.
so
That was a tangent. Sorry.
no, that was perfect because it does bring us to the whole mythology that's in ancient Egypt about how Thoth created the universe by singing it into
existence.
And
Exactly.
I did speak about that in another podcast. And that's a perfect example of that, Charlotte. Thanks. So it wasn't a tangent at all. It was a really good point.
Well, yeah. Thank you.
So what was it? Sorry, I was saying about time. Sorry, were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to actually say as well what Philip Raymond said in the class, which I think is what you're trying to get on about.
Yeah.
Or get onto is how notes don't really exist in music. So even when he's playing them on the piano, if you hear them in your head, when you think of like a song, and you sing it, that is you essentially, I would say, creating your reality. I don't think he said this, but this is what I inferred from that when we were discussing it, that the notes, you think them, but then when you sing them, it's like a separate thing, or you're creating the song.
So the thought of the note creates the sound, but you create the sound?
You create the sound that
and
is
the
the thought.
thought.
And the thought. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But then
they're simultaneous.
But then they combine to
create
sound.
something different.
Exactly, to make
Right.
something other than themselves.
Yeah, which is I think what you were going to say about
Yeah.
like Thoth, right?
So
In the mystery school.
Thoth has, Thoth can, as I've discussed before, Thoth actually, there's layers and layers and layers and layers of what the concept of Thoth actually represents. And that's why I've said in terms of Egyptology, and Egyptologists call on Thoth, like say for example a god, and Maat a goddess, is how this was really distorted and dumbed down, all this information.
Because they're needers.
Because
of reality, right?
Thoth is exactly. Thoth is a concept, and there's layers of meaning. But anyway,
thought.
Yes, you
exactly,
get it, Charlotte. Yeah.
Exactly. So one of the concepts that Thoth can that it does mean, or that we can understand what it means. Thoth is mind. That's why you hear of Thoth. Thoth created the calendars, isn't that what it says?
Yeah.
In the mythology of Egypt, it says how Thoth created the calendar. So we're talking about time.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mind created.
Exactly.
Measuring
so
time.
Mind is Thoth, if you want to say that
Mind
way.
is-
Okay. What is mind? What is mind? What is mind? Mind is what? Thoughts.
Yeah. That's
Okay. So mind is a collection of thoughts. And what is thoughts? Thoughts is a plural of thought.
Yes.
Thoughts just
Yeah.
means more than one thought.
Yeah.
But you have one thought at a time.
That's true. You don't think a million at once
No,
unless you're
you have one thought at a time.
really.
I mean, you might be able to think very fast,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
your thoughts aren't overlapping each other. You have one thought at a time.
They have it like
Yeah.
an intention. Each
Yeah,
one.
it's
even
kind of,
though they may be abstract, but
Mhm.
you think of one thing at a
At a time.
and they can
Yeah.
become related to each other.
oh,
yeah.
they're definitely related, but you think
Single
of one
thought.
thing at a time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what I'm saying is, mind, if you want to strip it right down to its very bare bones, consists of a thought.
Yeah.
The thought might change,
Yeah.
but it's still a thought. So if you want to bring it right down, mind is thought. Okay? It doesn't matter the quality of the thought
Yeah, exactly.
or how many in what you might consider 1 minute passes through your mind. It's a thought.
Yeah.
And thought is, if you want to say, the activity of what you might think of as your mind. Do you know what I mean? Okay, thought is mind, let's say. Let me put it another way. Thought is mind, but thinking, I should say,
Yeah.
is the activity
Right.
of the mind, which is thought.
And that's active.
You see, exactly.
Aware.
Exactly.
Yes, see.
Thought is the concept, the thought, but thinking is active.
Yes. Which
It's a
that's
process.
The unification of you'd
The
say
thought and the thinking
passive-
or the thought.
passive
and the active energy.
Exactly.
Or
Okay.
the female and the masculine. If you
So
wanna
let's say,
put gender terms on it, you know?
So let's say mind is trying to understand. So mind, we will say, is finite. It's the straight line.
Yeah.
And that's what God, if you want to say, or source created, remember?
Right,
Source
to
created
observe
it in order
itself.
to observe itself by looking as we do in the mirror to see our face. Mind created, or awareness, God created the concept or the thought of mind in order to experience time. Because time is finite.
Yes.
Right. Mind is finite. Mind cannot understand infinite in the same way as you can't see your own face.
Yeah. And
Okay. So let me just hold on 1 minute. Now, let's say, okay, think about this. Right. So, if you want to go back to something that happened yesterday, can you go there? Can you physically go there?
no.
Okay.
cannot.
Okay.
You can think
What
about
is
it.
the okay? Yeah, that's the closest thing you can do is to think about it. But when you're thinking about it, when do you think about it?
Now.
Now, yeah.
Okay. So if you want to go to a thing that you might be projecting into the future, a future event,
Yeah.
can you physically go there? Can you?
No.
No.
Not. as
So
we
what's
know.
the closest thing you can do? You can think about it. When do you do the thinking?
Now.
Now. Okay.
You can imagine it. You
Okay.
make it up out of your mind.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. Now is eternal awareness. Okay?
Yeah.
You cannot take not even 1 second from the past,
That's right.
nor can you take even 1 second from the future. All you have is now.
That's right.
And before you even finish the word now has moved. Now is the ever-present.
Yeah.
It's all you have.
Mhm.
It's all you have.
Yeah.
Okay? That is eternity. That is infinity. When you expand the now, it becomes eternity. When you come out of the now and you go to the past or to the future, you've stepped out of eternity.
Yeah, you're out of time.
No, you're in time.
Okay, you're in time, right, because there is no time.
Now you're in mind and you've created
you're
time.
You're in time, that's right, yeah. Because when you step out of eternity, then you've chopped it up into something that you can measure.
Mind was created for the finite to understand infinity.
Yeah.
Okay? So, there is no time, which means everything is now.
Yeah.
Okay? Everything is now. So in order to create the illusion of time, Source created mind. Okay. Mind, like you, cannot see its own face in the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay? So awareness cannot see itself.
Yeah.
Awareness cannot see itself. Right?
Yeah.
As you can't see yourself in the mirror. Yeah. Or sorry, only in a mirror.
Yeah.
Only by looking in a mirror can you see yourself. Same as God, consciousness if you want, can only see itself by reflection, which is what we think is our external reality.
Yes.
Okay? But in order to create that external reality, which is finite, it has to create a prism through which it projects eternity.
Yeah.
That prism is mind.
Yeah.
Okay, let's think of a mind as a prism. Crystal. Like a crystal.
Yeah.
A crystal's not quite a prism, but let's think of the same thing. A prism. What does a prism do? It breaks down light. Yes. It breaks down the one white light into 7 rays.
That's it.
So let's think of mind.
That we can see.
Mind as the prism breaks the one light down into 7 rays. Now we could say 7 days of the week, couldn't we?
Yep.
Or we could say 7 chakras. All right. Okay. How do you understand what I'm saying about the now? In terms of there is only now.
Yeah.
There is only now. When you think about tomorrow, you think of it now. When you think about yesterday, you think of it now.
Yeah, there is only now, but
everything that occurs in your experience and your awareness all happens now.
That's right.
Yeah.
It all happens now. Everything you ever experienced, from the time you think you were born and you grew and everything else, okay? But from the time you were a child up to this very moment in time, every single solitary thing you have ever experienced happened when? Now. Because that's all there is.
Exactly.
Now, this is the illusion.
Yeah.
This is the illusion. When the mind... Oh, you've got to understand this as well. Yeah. The mind actually thinks it's the eternal awareness.
Yes.
The mind thinks it's the eternal awareness.
The ego.
Okay, or the ego.
Yeah.
Okay. And just like you cannot see your own face, and the only way by which you can is by looking in the mirror, right? The same as mind. Mind can't see its own eternal awareness. The only way it can do it is by looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
Mind thinks it is its eternal awareness, right? It can't see eternal awareness. So it goes, hold on a minute, what'll I do here? Everything is... Finite cannot understand infinite. Okay? The white light shining through the prism is now creating 7 different rays of colour.
Yeah.
So it doesn't remember the white light. Now, it just sees the colours.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Does
now,
that make sense?
right?
Yeah.
So now on the other side of that prism, all of a sudden,
there's a rainbow.
If you're not, okay, the prism. Okay. Now I want you to stand back and look at the whole scene. I want you to look at the prism. Let's say it's the pyramid. Okay. Pink Floyd cover of Pink Floyd.
That's what I was saying.
We all know. Okay.
I
good.
did hear you. Yeah.
We're all aware of that. Okay. Cover of Pink Floyd album. The white is going through one side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 7 rays is coming out the other.
Yeah.
Okay. You're looking at the whole scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your mind, I'm saying right now, you're looking at the whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your mind's eye.
Okay. Let's forget. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is narrow down your scene. I want you to go into the scene, and I want you to just look at one half of the scene. I want you to forget about the white light. I want you to forget about the pyramid, and I want you to just go to the 7 colours.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm asking you to do now is veil the pyramid from yourself.
Yep.
Veil the white light from yourself.
Yep.
And just look at the 7 colours.
Yep.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
those 7 colours now become 7 days of the week, 7 directions of space.
Yep.
7 notes in an octave.
7 notes in an octave.
Because it's just repeating the first one.
Now, if you get lost in that, right, very mesmerising, and if you get lost in that, it's very easy to think that that's all the real stuff and that's all there is.
Yeah.
Right? But with the creation of these 7 rays comes 7 days of the week. What does that mean? Time.
Time, exactly.
Okay? Now you've created 7 days of the week, 7 directions of space, 7 chakras.
7 notes.
7 notes. Yeah? Now all you have to do is stand back again. Stand back, stand back, stand back. Draw yourself back out, back out, back out. Come right back to where you can see the whole scene again. And now you can see the 7 rays were created by the white light, the one light, shining through the prism, which broke the one light down into the 7 rays. That's it right there. Do you get it? That's how time is created.
But the mind can't understand.
The mind is the pyramid.
Yeah, the mind is the pyramid.
The mind is the pyramid. The mind is the mountain that Moses climbed, aka Akhenaten. And what was the first question he asked?
Who are you?
What is your name?
And it said, I
am that I am.
So the pyramid, that's another thing. The pyramid is the pyramid is the mind, the brain.
Okay. And I think we'll probably end now because this has gone on a while. But what I'm going to say is...
This is a philosophical broadcast.
It could go on forever and ever and ever and now and now and now.
This is a fractal of a podcast.
This could go on for many nows.
Podcast fractal of a podcast fractal.
In fact, you're not even hearing this.
Yeah.
So, to say I am that I am, okay, what I'm doing is I'm pointing here now when I'm doing this. So what I'm doing is I'm pointing at a cup and I'm saying, I am that I am.
I am that.
So what I'm saying is, I am that cup. I am. I am that.
Microphone.
Sounds like Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
That's what. There you go. Theodore Geisel.
Yeah.
He was on to something.
I am that chair over there. I am.
I
I am that person. I am. I am those 7 rays. I am.
Yeah.
I am the prison. I am.
Yeah.
I am the white light. I am.
That's it.
And I'm also the observer that's observing it all. I am.
That's it. Yeah. Because I created for myself to observe. Yeah.
Okay. So just to finish up last, and what I want to say is that to understand all this information, right?
Yeah.
That's the mystery schools.
Yes, that's exactly.
Were more or less created to understand all this. And the mystery school initiates were those who carried this information. Okay, so you can understand how people with this information would be a bit of a danger to the status quo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
You don't exist because we're all me.
Yeah. Okay. So
They'd be like, "Who are you?" Blasphemy, right?
Okay. So the objective, and a lot of people don't understand, but the objective of in the mystery schools was to initiate the process of what we call death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is no death. But to initiate the transition that we call death.
Yeah.
Why? To understand it. Because the whole goal of the mystery schools was to die while you were alive. Now, I know that's a paradox and everything else, but that's what it was. To die while you're alive. That's what the Great Pyramid was. It was a chamber of initiation, a cave, where people went in and
they
died.
Were
went out of their body.
crucified on the cross of matter.
Yeah.
Rostown.
And so...
Rostown, exactly.
Exactly. And so what they experienced directly for themselves was there is no death. There is no time. There is only I am.
That's right.
Now.
They're in the prism. They're in the mind. They're going back to the white light. They know.
That's it. That's what happens when
Go
you
into the light.
You go to the
Okay,
you
so-
become the white light again. Consciousness.
Well, we work. That's yeah. So
Anyway, never mind.
so
We're closing down.
well, some people have a thing about
What?
the white light.
I know what you're saying.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's going into something different anyway. But
Yeah.
you asked me something about past lives.
I know, yeah.
And future lives.
We were
So
discussing
yeah,
that earlier.
so what I want to say about that is, in reality, there is no past lives and there is no future lives. They're now lives. They're all
everything's
now.
happening now.
It's all
Yeah.
now, and that's the whole thing about light. Light is everywhere, all at the same time. There is no time, and that's what Einstein discovered. The faster you travel in space, the closer you approximate the speed of light, the slower time dilation, the slower time goes. So when you reach the speed of light, there is no time. Light is everywhere, all at the same now. Okay? So, anyway, the point I wanted to, of this podcast is, the point of this podcast is, this is the knowledge that was taken okay, now we're coming back down into what we consider our physical reality, even though there's no such thing as physical reality. And I've told these stories about the fall of Atlantis and all this kind of thing. But what I want everyone to know is you're telling yourself this. I am you. You are me. We are waking each other up. This is what it's about. The stories are to wake ourselves up.
Yeah.
All right.
To jog our memories.
Don't get embedded in the stories because it's his story. History.
Yeah, his.
His story. So any stories we've written down, look, okay, that's getting into something else.
Wait, actually,
what I'm
can
saying
I say
is,
something? Just to interrupt you for one moment. This is one of the reasons why the ancient Irish druids and bards, they were in the right track. It was oral history passed from living person.
well, so
to
all the mystery schools was oral.
yeah. So I'm saying like
That's the one language
there's no
before.
book like a Bible or whatever that you can all fight over.
No,
you know?
that's the one language before the Tower of Babel.
That's
the
it.
universal language was telepathic communication.
That's it.
And that's why the mystery schools, everything in the mystery schools, all had to be remembered, never written down.
That's right.
We discussed this in another podcast, how language. Anyway, that's a different story.
Well, yeah, telepathy is thought.
Yeah.
And you are thought.
Yeah.
Which, well, you're not just.
Well,
thought,
quantum entanglement.
Yeah,
Exactly. We're.
It's another way to say it, quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
And if everything is quantum entangled, then everything shares all knowledge.
That's right. Because they're never separated. They're always connected.
So,
the
so
hologram.
That's what I was going to put up to you. Everything you were describing before was to me is like the white light.
yeah, but a
goes
hologram
into
has
your
to be
brain,
projected
which is a
from somewhere.
projector. No, the brain is the projector, and then it comes out the other side.
Yeah, but your brain is a creation of the awareness in the first place. Your brain,
that's
your
true.
brain is the illusion as well.
That's true.
Your brain, your physical body and your brain is part of the illusion.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I mean, your physical body and your brain is only a thought
Yes.
Exactly.
that
Yeah,
dissipates.
yeah. Yes.
And when it dissipates, we call it dying.
That's it.
It's all you've just done is taken your awareness away.
Your
Yeah,
thoughts create your reality, and you are
Here in the now. But when you do
The
something
now.
that you think is dying, is when your awareness of you is out of your body, gone, right?
Okay, let me say.
It's a long
All-
wrap up. But
all of-
you can't wrap this up, guys. It's now.
Not
It's-
unless
it's-
you're Lazarus.
So all of the processes of the mystery schools was for the initiate or the student to understand directly
Yes.
by their own experience that they were I am.
Yeah.
They are the eternal nature. And it is only by going through this process, by going into the pyramid, climbing the mountain, all the way up into the king's chamber, asking God, what's your name? It's all a metaphor for the pyramid. Anyway, so...
I would say it's all a metaphor for your life, right?
yes.
Which
For
is
you.
you have to experience. If you are the eternal consciousness, the I am,
Mm-hmm.
and you created this a reflection of yourself
Mm-hmm.
to experience that, then you have to experience climbing the mountain to meet yourself at the top of the mountain,
To wake yourself up.
to go back down and do it all over again.
So all of what we're just talking about is the creation of the mirror, so that awareness can see itself.
Yes.
Because without it, it can't see. So without mind, it's not aware of itself.
Yes.
So it's not that mind is bad.
no,
No.
it's just is.
It's just it is. So
No judgment, absolutely. It's just
no.
trying for
So what the
awareness and understanding.
and the most important. Okay, it's all important, but one of the in terms of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
With this knowledge comes the release of fear,
Oh, yes.
because there is no fear when you actually, factually, and beyond any doubt know you are eternal. You are source, consciousness, awareness. You are that. I am that. When you know that, there is no death. What did I say to you earlier? What time elapses between going to sleep and waking up?
No.
In your experience? None, because time doesn't exist. It's only through mind that time exists. The prism, the pyramid, breaks it down into the 7 rays, which creates time.
Yeah, exactly.
When you go asleep, you go back into the white light. Okay, I don't want to say white light because I know other people. You go back into the light. Light is only a metaphor, and even white light is only a metaphor for awareness.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
a
only a
metaphor
metaphor.
for
You're not
awareness.
meant to think it's awareness. When you say I'm the light of the world, you're talking about awareness, okay?
Yeah.
So, or consciousness, if you want to put it that
Yeah,
way.
like filtered through your eyes of perception.
So, let's
Yeah.
say when you
Sensory
wake up,
information.
Yeah, sensory.
when you wake up, you're on the side of the pyramid where the 7 rays are.
Yes.
When you go back asleep, you go back through the prism and you go back into the
Yeah.
1. Yeah? That's why there's no time. because your mind doesn't go with you.
Yeah.
Your mind, when you go asleep, when you lie down at night, the mind goes asleep.
Yeah.
But your I am continues. That never goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then when you wake back up in the morning, time starts again. You become aware of time again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have no awareness of time when you're asleep because it doesn't exist.
It's just
because mind is not present.
That's right. Mind is not present.
Mind submerges back into awareness.
Yeah.
When you're asleep. It doesn't go anywhere. It just goes back in. It's like a wave. You know? Like you see a wave, right? And it appears something like maybe in and of itself. But when it goes back into the water and becomes the sea again, how can you pick out the bit that was originally the wave?
Well, that like, interesting you use the wave, right? If you think of like the observer effect between the particle and the wave. Right?
Exactly. That's exactly.
Exactly.
It's built into our language.
Exactly.
So what I'm trying to say is, okay, if we can put any word or name or energy quality on the year that we call 2020.
Oh Jesus.
Well, okay, now let's just talk here.
Let's just sit.
If we can put anything onto the year 2020, we would say that it carries the energy, and from almost the beginning, I would say from the beginning of the year, of and let me hear everybody shouting if I'm wrong. Death and fear.
Absolutely.
Or could we even say fear of death?
Fear of death. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what if? Just what if? Always knew. Always. Yeah.
We's what?
We's.
We is.
We. You. Me. Us.
Yeah.
We're all
we.
one.
All
one. All one.
W-E.
We're all one. What if all the we's on the planet
understood?
Okay.
Or were aware.
Knew. There is no such thing as death. I am eternal awareness.
2020 vision.
Okay. 2020 vision. Do you just hold on? Just let's say.
Yeah.
Just let's say.
It's hard.
We're all initiates who have gone through the mystery school, and we have gone through the process, and we have awakened to our eternal awareness. Would you be scared of death?
No.
Could anybody make you scared of death?
No, because you have your own experience.
Could anybody get you to do anything you didn't want to do?
Because the consequence would be death.
Using the fear of death.
Yeah. No.
If you truly believe that, no.
No, if you knew.
No. There's no belief.
Oh, sorry.
There's no belief involved.
Yeah.
You know your eternal awareness.
If you have gone through the process of directly experiencing your eternal, immortal self awareness, okay? Your eternal, immortal awareness. If you have directly experienced that, are you afraid of death?
No. That's kind of funny. If you
How
say
could
no.
you be? Okay, what is death? Death is what we think death is. We think death is the disappearance of awareness. What else is death? What else is death? Only, okay, when we say we're going to die, what do you think happens when you die? What are you afraid of when you're talking about dying? You're afraid of the dissolution of yourself.
Yeah.
The not being aware.
You're exactly. That's
not
the
being here,
that's
not
it.
being present.
Exactly what Charlotte just said. The fear of death is the fear of not being aware anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You see?
I can only laugh because it's
because you will always laugh.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's funny. You will always laugh when you understand this.
That's
okay?
why Monty Python knew
you will
what they were
always laugh when you understand this, because God has an amazing sense of humor.
doing. Yes.
Okay, and let me tell you, okay, when you discover your eternal nature, there is no death. There is no death.
Well, because you're also not.
It's
a
the
physical
same
body.
as the
physical body
transition.
is just a creation of your thoughts.
Of course, and it's the same as what I said to you about going to sleep and waking up. When you go to sleep and when you wake up, to your awareness, no time has elapsed.
Yeah.
Because there is no time.
Yeah.
And when you go to sleep, your awareness doesn't you just go away. Your mind, it comes back as soon as you wake up, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, when you open your eyes.
So let me ask you another question. Let me turn it around. So let's say we establish that when we say fear of death, what we're talking about is fear of not being aware
Yes.
anymore. of our awareness just dissipating.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been aware of not being aware?
No.
So what does that mean? If not being aware, if we've defined death as the dissolution of awareness. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So when people say I'm afraid of death, they're afraid of not being aware anymore.
Yeah.
They're afraid of their awareness dissolving and just not being anymore.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Isn't that what you're afraid of? Isn't that what everybody's afraid of? Okay, let me ask the question then. If you were, I don't know whether you are or not, but if you were afraid of death, what would you be afraid of? What is it you're afraid of?
Afraid of letting go of your physical. Well, let's just put it this way. If I thought my physical body was who I was, then I would be afraid. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But
of
if
what?
I know, well, just of being not in the physical body anymore. It's not animated anymore. It's just there.
So ultimately, that's a fear of what?
It's a fear of
Not being present in your
not
body.
being present.
Not
in your
being
body.
aware.
Yeah, not being aware. Not being present in your body.
Well,
And your body being like.
well, is it really? I mean, when people think of not being dead, do they think of themselves? Do they say to themselves, "I'm terrified of not being present in my body"?
No, they
don't.
They just.
That's not
give
what
it
they're
that-
terrified
People
of.
They're
say,
terrified
people say
of that
unknown.
label.
They
Okay.
say people,
Of the word.
People say
The unknown, yeah. And
Which is-
the fear really, if you dig down into it, when you say you're afraid, I'm not saying you are saying it, but when
No.
people say, or the fear,
Generally.
whether they say it or not, what you're actually afraid of. If you think about it, you'll see it's what you're afraid of if you have a fear of death. What you're afraid of is not being anymore.
That's it. Yes.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
But if you have already established, okay, through what we've already talked about,
Yeah.
that you are eternal awareness,
Yeah.
how can you not be anymore?
Exactly.
Well, that's what the initiations were for in all the temples, to confront your fear of death through every chakra, right?
It's
Well,
to confront. It's also
a
to understand what it
paradox.
is,
Yeah.
what the transaction
It's
is.
the learning.
yeah,
It is a paradox,
It's
yeah.
a paradox because
It's true and not true at the
if-
same time.
If
yeah.
death is,
It is and isn't.
If
That-
the
that was
death
a
is
wrong-
being the not, I am not, right? But you are the I am,
Mhm.
like
It's the mind that dies.
exactly. So, but see where we are now and what we're talking.
You see, the
and
mind
how
has
we
to
are
die
here.
in order to be eternal.
That's
Yes, because
It doesn't want
Because
to give up.
while the
Because
mind
we
is
are the-
alive, it will always have the construct of time.
Yes. And it will always be
Space.
dominant.
it's
you know?
finite.
Exactly. So
And it's
while the
dominant.
mind is still alive, it will always have the experience of yesterday, tomorrow. Things grow. How can something grow, get old, die, decay, when there is no time for any of that to take place?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, exactly. It's
So,
like
but if you
this-
go back to your eternal awareness, then you don't have a problem and you remember everything because you are everything.
Think of the word time as well. What is it?
time
Tiny.
me, yeah, time me,
Tiny me.
tiny,
Tiny.
T-I-M-E.
wibbly wobbly,
Timey.
wibbly wobbly,
Wibbly-wobbly.
time.
Okay,
tiny.
so I think the most
Thanks.
important part of this podcast that I'm trying to get across is
Yeah.
when you eliminate the fear of death by doing all the processes that we've just talked about, and that's why the mystery
being a
schools were
student in the
created,
mystery
and that's
school.
why all this knowledge is important, and that's why I'm talking about it. And this is, and you know what? Can I just say something as well? And again, I'm just tying it in. Many people talked about 2012, and I remember I was there. I was in Egypt. I was and it was a big thing for a long time, and a lot of people will know about this and remember the whole 2012 thing and the hype coming up to 2012 and
The end
all
of
the
the
different
Mind
theories
Farm.
about what was going to happen and Anyway, I was at the Giza Plateau not on the Giza Plateau because they had it closed, but I was
Across the street.
Anyway, I was yeah, it doesn't make any difference. I
In
was
the
at the
general
Giza Plateau.
area.
I was at the Giza on the 21st of December 2012. And there was nobody on the Giza Plateau in the pyramids or anything else because it was the one day in the forever that was ever closed, coincidentally. But anyway,
No,
the whole plateau, not just the Great Pyramid, the whole plateau. There was nobody allowed on that day. So there was all these things about what's going to happen on the 21st of December. 21st of December came and went. Now, I had a particularly interesting experience, but mind you, I was at the Giza Plateau. But many people it came and went, and then, you know, a large community of people were saying, nothing happened. You know, nothing happened. That was a lot of hype and nothing happened. Like Y2K, I don't know, you won't remember that.
I do.
But anyway, nothing happened, 2012, nothing happened. Well, it did. Now, it's nothing to do with years because there is no time, as we've already said.
Yeah.
But there is triggers. There's triggers for mind to go, oh, hold on. Maybe it's time to remember myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's various different triggers, so I don't... The triggers could be a podcast in and of themselves. But anyway, 2012 was one of those triggers for mind. I'm not talking in linear time terms here. I'm talking about a trigger, okay? It doesn't matter. Let's just... Don't even think about that. So, people thought 2012, all this thing was going to happen. And then, because nothing, as far as they were concerned, did actually happen on
nothing
that
that
day.
they could see with their little
Not
limited...
some
With their
big,
eyes, yeah.
you know, something
Revolution.
outside of themselves.
Yeah,
Like,
said, oh, no, nothing happened. So, the whole community went quiet for a long time, and because there was many people talking about 2012, and then they all went quiet because there was nothing they could say, because as far as they were concerned, nothing happened, you know what I mean? Okay, fast forward, and here we are in 2020, and what's the year of 2020 called? What would you consider an attached to 2020, as many people say?
Oh,
2020
vision.
2020 vision, okay. So let me just say...
Clarity.
Okay, let me say, the reason 2020 vision, and it's also about balance, is...
Yes, yeah.
And we're calling 2020, okay, is because when something major happens, like huge, really huge, you don't actually realise it's happened in the now. You don't realise it. It's like getting a download of information. And now, I know maybe some people don't like that word, but it's like getting, like what I'm talking about when, for example, if you have a dream, okay, there can be loads of information in that dream, but it only took about 2 seconds to happen.
Yeah.
But yet, for you to talk about it could take hours.
yeah.
Or to write down the information could take hours. When you try to bring that into linear time, it'll take you ages. But in the space of where it actually happened in your awareness, there was no time. It's just seconds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, I've lost my train of thought. Where was I?
What?
I've lost your train of thought.
No,
too.
Something just...
No, you were talking about yeah, I lost it too.
This train has left the station.
The train has left the building. So, I think what I was saying, was, you know, it's like you have to unpack the information.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, because it happens in a space where there is no time.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to bring it down into a space where there is time.
Can I
you're
say
trying
decode?
to decode, yeah.
It.
You're trying to decode it over a period of... So what I'm saying is that what we all were thinking about 2012, and then we all said, oh, nothing happened. Well, it did. But it's taken us until 2020.
Yeah, it's disseminating very slowly.
Yeah, it's taken us until 2020 to understand it. So 2020 is the year of 2020 vision, isn't that what we say?
Yeah.
Because we see what actually happened in 2012.
Yeah.
Now again, don't cling on to the linear time bit, because I'm not really talking about years and all that.
To me,
I'm talking
It's a
about
metaphor, guys.
number triggers, like 1212,
yeah.
2020. They're number triggers. They're, numbers are energy, qualities of energy.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking of like, you know, cycles. It was the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one, and that's what everybody said. We didn't see it, but it's pretty evident nowadays that it was definitely the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one.
So we have 2020 this year. We say 2020 vision.
Perspective.
So that means that, wow, we can look back and see what happened then. You see? So so waking up is the quality of the energy. But it had, you know, we have this energy of the fear of death all in 2020. You know, the fear of death.
It's
and
rampant.
it came in immediately, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
And so millions and millions of people all over the planet are terrified of death.
Yeah.
You know? Well, let's just say, what if loads of people suddenly went, hold on a minute, I am that, I am.
Yes.
I'm eternal. There is no... What would happen... Sorry, just for 1 second. What would happen to the whole thing? What would happen to the level of consciousness that could be manipulated by the fear of death if it all of a sudden remembered it was eternal?
It couldn't be manipulated, no matter what they did.
It couldn't be manipulated no matter what.
That's it, yeah.
Because I know.
Yeah, that's it.
They say
So,
no. 'Cause
This
they know.
information would give the knower the power, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Got the power.
You see? Because it's only through the fear of death can you be manipulated. That's it. So now I'm going to finish up there. And
Yeah.
if by chance you don't actually get the point of this podcast,
The puzzle.
Well,
anyway,
it comes and it goes.
so it's been great talking to everybody again.
Yeah, it has been.
And
This is a fun one.
Yeah, I think so too. It's very my bailiwick, which I love, metaphysics. You know, like in other words, you know, you have to work on you. This is your riddle. You have to figure it out.
well,
Exactly.
that's it. Yeah, it's the journey, isn't it?
It is
like,
the journey. Yeah.
You have to figure out. I have to figure it out. We have to figure it out, if you will, because
We are
are
who
one.
we are.
We are one. We are one.
we are.
Who was it? Bill Hicks.
Yes, Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
I
You know
love
that
Bill Hicks.
quote
Life
from Bill
is a
Hicks.
dream.
Yes.
What is it? All energy. What is it? Sorry, I should really
All
read this
matter
quote
is
before.
energy
All
slowed down
very
to a
good.
wave.
All
You
matter
said a
is
lot.
energy merely condensed to a slow vibration.
That's it.
No, there's more to it.
Life is a dream. We are all.
And
some-
life is a dream. There is no death, and we are all the imagination of ourselves.
That's it.
I mean, Bill Hicks actually at the moment, Charlotte is just looking it up, so we can get the exact quote.
Yes.
Because I have mentioned it before, and I did have it on the end of my website, and I just can't remember word for word the quote, but it's perfect. I mean, Bill Hicks, he just summed it up. He just summed it up so well, and I love the fact that he did it in comedy.
Yeah.
Because it's divine laughter. It is.
That's it.
God has a great sense of humor.
Yeah. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Well, that's the problem. We do, don't we?
That's it.
Me included, by the way.
That's
Everybody
because
does.
your ego.
Yeah, because
Well,
mine.
Your
Yeah.
ego says I'm here to do something important.
Yeah, and it's just.
It's just me.
Like I was just saying, it comes and it goes. Like the point of everything, right?
Well, that's
You
like
know?
the understanding and then the not understanding. It's like, oh, I get it. Oh no,
No,
actually, I
no,
don't.
It's gone again.
Oh no, I get it again.
No,
No,
it's
it's gone
gone.
again. Oh, I get it again.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's it. Like
It's like an amusement park ride.
that's like the now.
Now, yes.
It's fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yet it's ever present.
It is, yeah. And also,
But it's veiled by the past and the future,
That's it.
and that's the whole two Acker lines
Yes.
as they sit back to back on the Giza plateau. You know, one represents the past, one represents the future,
That's it.
and the three pyramids in between represent the now.
That's it.
The Trinity.
Well said,
Or the-
Antoinette.
And
Or the Great
if you
Pyramid.
will, here is the Bill Hicks
quote
quote.
from
And we're
Bill
going to leave you today
with these
with a
beautiful
quote
words.
from Bill Hicks. And it says, "Today a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration. That we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death. Life is only a dream,
That's it.
and we are the imagination of ourselves."
Yay! Well
Have
said.
a good
Thanks, Bill.
After all these hours, we just read his quote.
Yeah.
If we'd have done that in the beginning. But thank you,
Hey.
Bill.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank
and
you.
happy Samhain coming. Hopefully, we'll have a Samhain podcast.
If I
before.
keep talking, it could be sound by the time. Okay, goodbye and thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.